Good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, May 4th, 2021. My name is Karen Bodenschatz. I serve as Associate Pastor at First Lutheran Church in Onalaska, Wisconsin, and this is my morning musing. So a few weeks ago, I told you all about a training I was doing with the King Center called the Nonviolence 365 Be Love training. And I am now doing the second part of that, or the second training that they offer, which is to understand and apply nonviolence. And how do we do that? And last night, it's a 3-night training. Last night, it was a review of the last night of the last training, of the Be Love training. And so, which I'm very thankful for, because while I had heard it a few weeks ago and took copious notes, there was so much within that first training that was just running through my heart and my soul, that what I'm going to talk about today and what hit me so hard yesterday and is working on me, it didn't do that the last time. And so I was really thankful that the first night of this training was a review of the principles and the steps to nonviolence. And while I can go through all of those, what was so key to me in this moment in my life and in our world was that nonviolence, the philosophy of nonviolence as lived out and taught by Dr. King, changes you first before it can change the world. It's an inside-out philosophy. Now, this isn't really anything new, right? I mean, I've talked about loving others and how in order to love others, we need to be willing to go into ourselves and do the self-work that we need to do to be healthier and to be more robust people and to love others. So we love ourselves as much as we love others. But there was something about the idea that nonviolence is something that changes me first. That if I want to be a nonviolent worker in this world, which I believe is what Jesus calls us to, that I have to be nonviolent to myself. Not that I'm hurting myself physically or things like that. But there are things that I say to myself, there are choices that I make that do not help me, that do not consider the principles of nonviolence or the steps to nonviolence. And so I've been really chewing on that and beginning to imagine what my life would be like if I applied this philosophy to those things, to the choices I make, to the actions I do that do me harm, whether that's spiritual or intellectual or emotional, perhaps physical. I've been known to eat way too many crackers. And so, yeah, it's changing my insides and it's jumbling all sorts of things up. But I do want to talk about the principles of nonviolence really quickly. I'm sure you will hear these more from me. It feels like something that's shifting in how I think. So those of you who get to hear me preach, I'm sure you'll hear some of these things popping through. So the 6 principles of nonviolence, which is the will to be nonviolent in the world, is active courage. It's a way of life for courageous people. Is intentional understanding. So it really seeks to understand, not to humiliate. The way of nonviolence, its goal is always to create the beloved community, and we can unpack that another day. The 3rd principle is dignity. That is that we seek to defeat injustice and not people. The 4th is a conscious discipline, which means that I'm willing to suffer for a just cause. I'm willing to give stuff up for justice and to defeat injustice. And That's conscious discipline. That takes a lot of discipline. And then the fifth one is love, that I will always choose love over hate, and faith, which believes that the universe is on the side of justice. So those are the 6 principles. And I encourage you to ponder those a little bit, to consider the ways that you are nonviolent in the world, or violent. I mean, that's the other side of it, correct? And perhaps how nonviolence could maybe do for you what it's doing for me, which is put a different frame around the commandments that we are called to live out, which is to love God and to love neighbor as ourselves. I would love to hear how that's going, or what you're doing in your own life to work toward eradicating injustice in our world, whether that be racism or poverty or war or homelessness, or what are you doing in your life to live out these commandments of God? I'd love to hear your voice as well. I will see you on Thursday. Until then, be well, be kind, for Christ is with you.